What up, Detroit? It's Rob Parker. Coming up on Shop Talk, we debate Matthew Stafford. Is he progressing or regressing? Former Pistons point guard Lindsey Hunter stops by the shop. Also, Lomas Brown breaks down the Lions against the Vikings this weekend in Minneapolis. Shop Talk starts right now. Some people think the best place to talk about sports is on the radio. No way, no how. It's in the barbershop. I should know. I'm a sports analyst. Detroit is a 5-point favorite. Devin, save your money, I know. And I own a barbershop in Detroit. And the cats in the barbershop, they think they know everything about sports.
Get ready for Rob Parker's Shop Talk. Real sports, real talk.
This is Shop Talk.
Welcome into Shop Talk on this Saturday. I'm Rob Parker. Let's kick it off with Getting Rob, where you get my take on the biggest sports stories of the week. We start out with NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell, who at the owners' meeting has now said that the league will come up with a personal conduct policy by the start of the Super Bowl. My policy would be simple. If you're indicted or you are charged with a felony, you should just sit to the sideline until it's all worked out in the legal system, be paid, and then once that is resolved, you get to come back and play football. It should just be that simple. Other than that, I think it's too murky when there are pending charges or accusations. It should just be indictment or you're charged with a felony. At the Lions-Buffalo Bills game this past Sunday, there was a fan there with a green laser pointer who was pointed at quarterback Kyle Orton and some other players who were complaining to the refs. The NFL officials are now trying to find this fan who apparently was on Facebook bragging before the incident saying that he was going to do this. This makes no sense. Here again, fans, it's one thing to want to help your team win, but this is like cheating. I don't know why anybody would bring that to a ball game. And finally, the Red Wings opened up the 2014-2015 NHL season on Thursday against the Boston Bruins. People are now expecting the Red Wings to fall to the back of the pack. Most estimates have the Red Wings finishing in 5th place in the East. Now it's time for the big debate. It's sponsored by Bob Maxey, the only Ford and Lincoln Mercury dealer in downtown Detroit. To reach him, call 313-392-9200 or visit them on the web at bobmaxeyford.com. The Lions are 3-2 heading to week 6 of the NFL. But some people are saying they're 3-2 despite the play of Matthew Stafford. Last week against Buffalo, the Lions had just one offensive touchdown. That's 3 times this year that they've scored only one offensive touchdown in their first 5 games. And the question begs, is Matthew Stafford progressing or regressing, Vinny? What do you think?
Oh, I think he's definitely regressing, Rob. I don't think that he's developed into the type of quarterback that can survive without Calvin Johnson being 100% on the field. If you look at the last 3 games last year when they had a chance to secure a playoff spot, 2 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. I mean, you can't have that type of inaccuracy from your quarterback, especially if you're giving him $100 million, especially if you're going to wind up letting Ndamukong Suh walk because you're paying your quarterback over $20 million, and that defense is carrying you right now. If he can't develop a receiving core without Calvin Johnson on the field, why is he your franchise quarterback?
Teak, it's 6 years. I mean, you've seen this guy for 6 years now. Has he gotten to the point where you have faith in him, or are they winning in spite of him?
I'm going to tell you now, Matthew Stafford, he looked good. I have faith in him this year because I've seen his footwork. He actually worked on this game, compared to last year. Last year was, definitely horrible, especially for the fourth quarter. This year, I mean, he hasn't made them type of turnovers and stuff like that, and then his receiving staff is down. So, Matthew Stafford, he looked good, so it's progressing to me.
So you're all right progressing. EP, is he where he should be, year 6?
Well, Rob, I'll say this. Up to this point, as far as progressing and regressing, I would say he hasn't really done either. I would pretty much say you could call him idle or stagnant because he'll have a good game, but then he'll have games where he does the same mistakes that he does, overthrowing receivers, not going through his progressions and locking on the receivers. Same mistakes we've seen for at least 3 or 4 years now.
But Cal, he got Ebron, right? Everybody talked about this and all these weapons and Reggie Bush, and this is supposed to be an unstoppable offense. We haven't seen it. I heard everything about with Ebron and the new offensive coordinator, this was going to look like the Saints offense. I haven't seen that. Have you?
You know what? He has flashes, and the team has flashes. I feel like a personal bodyguard for Matt Stafford because I'm always defending the young guy. And to correct you, yes, it's been 6 years, but we've only seen him in a starting role for 4 years. He was injured the first 2 years. So I think people need to allow him to develop. He has everything that a young quarterback needs.
How long do you give him? I mean,
At the brand new offense, though. You know what I'm saying? You got to give it
But
time.
with those weapons, really? I mean,
it's a brand new offense with a whole new coaching staff. You know you have to at least give it half a season to
So
work
you're
out.
telling me you would be cool if Matthew Stafford is like, I don't know, 23 touchdowns and 20 picks at this point in his career? It's got to be more than that. It can't be all on the offense.
Rob, I think Matthew Stafford is the exact same quarterback that we saw 3 years ago when he threw for 5,000 yards and threw all those touchdowns. It was a lot of smoke and mirrors. The offense was really good. It wasn't because of him. He's not going to elevate your offense.
And back then, Vinny, just to piggyback, they were down in all those games where the defense gives you, they'll let you throw in front of them all day. And I think he piled up the yards and numbers.
Here's my biggest thing, and I disagree with Chico on the footwork stuff. He got sacked 5 times last week. Six times last week. As soon as you put a little bit of pressure on him, he's not going through his progressions. He's looking over his receivers. And if it's not throwing the ball deep to Calvin Johnson and just telling Calvin to go get it, what does he excel at as far as throwing the ball?
Vince, excuse me. When you got a Buffalo defense that's headed up by the head coach of the team from last year, he knows his tendencies. Buffalo Bills defensive line got to him.
Nope.
One offensive touchdown, 3 of the 5 games. Everybody don't have Jim Schwartz as their defensive coordinator.
And one last thing. How did you like Jim Schwartz being carried off by some of his defensive players? Was that not right?
That was just disgusting.
It was rubbing it in their face a
Hey,
little bit.
guess you know what? You know what though? Here's my thing. If you don't want Jim Schwartz being carried off the field, you know what you do? Beat him.
That's
Well,
right.
there you go.
You're right.
Matthew Stafford, we'll see week 6 against Minnesota, probably without Calvin. So we'll see how he fares. Check out the Shop Talk Rundown. Here's what's coming up. More Shop Talk is on the way. Stick and stay, Detroit.
Thomas McGee's is your downtown Detroit football headquarters. Located on Fisher Service Drive in Eastern Market, they have ESPN Game Plan showing all college games. Stop in before and after every Lions home game. And Thomas McGee has an NFL ticket. Come through and enjoy.
For the best alterations in town, go to Sam's Alterations on Southfield Road in Lathrop Village. 248-552-9950. Sam also has a great selection of men's suits. Sam's the man. If you need work done on your car, truck, or van, take them to the pros at Expert Car Care. They offer free inspections and guarantee the lowest prices in town. Expert Car Care has 2 locations, 7 Mile between Myers and Wyoming and 8 Mile between Mound and Van Dyke. Now it's time for Homeboy Highlights. All right, this week's homeboy is Michigan State Spartan running back Jeremy Langford. Last week against Nebraska, Langford rushed for 111 yards on 29 attempts and got into the end zone for 1 touchdown. This season, he's rushed for a total of 451 yards on 91 carries, averaging 5 yards a carry and 4 touchdowns. Congratulations, Jeremy. You're this week's homeboy.
What's up? How y'all doing?
All right, we welcome in Lindsey Hunter, of course, 2-time NBA champion, former Piston, former head coach of the Phoenix Suns, and one of the members of the Pit Bulls during that championship run with the Pistons. But Lindsey, let's start with the Pistons, and they have a new coach in Van Gundy. Just tell me about him with this roster.
I think, with the roster not changing much, I think he's kind of going to experiment. It's kind of trial by fire and see how the personnel fits with what he wants to do. And he's proven that he can get teams to play hard and to win. So I think he'll take it step by step. He has full control, so he can pull the trigger on any trade or anything he wants to do. So he's in a pretty good situation.
Monroe coming off the bench, good idea?
It may be. It may be. I don't know how, they see him, in the foreseeable future, but I think he's a pretty good asset to have. And I think they'll just kind of see how it works.
All right, let's go around the NBA. Of course, LeBron James going back to Cleveland. A lot of people have them going at least to the Eastern Conference Finals, maybe to the championship. You like that team?
Yeah, I really do. I really do. I think when you insert LeBron on anybody's team, instantly you're a contender. So I think, they may come out the East, depending on Indiana, depending on the health of the Bulls.
And that was my next question. Derrick Rose, who we saw here in Detroit on Tuesday in an exhibition game, his health has got to be an issue. And when you're playing, Lindsey, you can say all you want. There's got to be a little bit of doubt when you got two bad wheels.
It is. And the biggest hurdle for him will be mentally. Because any feeling he gets in his legs, he's going to, think about it. But if he can stay 80% healthy, it will be tough with Paul Gasol and Joakim Noah, Taj Gibson. They got a squad. I
Gibson's
really like.
He's a player, ain't he?
Oh yeah,
He's a player.
I was there. I was fortunate enough to be there with him his rookie year, and after watching him, they had 2 first-round picks that year, and they picked one kid out of I can't think of the school, but they picked Taj late, and I was like, man, this should have been the lottery pick.
Yeah, he's really good. Yeah. Talk about Golden State. You were out there, assistant coach with Mark Jackson. You guys kind of got pushed out, and they brought in Steve Kerr with that squad.
Yeah, ultra talented squad, great group of guys. Now it's time for them to make the next step. And with the team they have, I think it's doable. They just have to stay healthy and keep maturing.
And what about Kobe Bryant is back with the Geritol squad there in L.A. I know everybody always wants to say Kobe got a shot. We've seen him get hurt the last couple of years. As you get older, and you play in the NBA, right. How many years was it, 17? You played a long time. Isn't it harder as you get older?
It's really harder, really hard. I think a lot of people aren't looking at the young talent they have around, though. They have a kid they drafted out of Missouri who they've been raving about. He may start at the point, 6'4" kid. Of course, Randall. Mm-hmm. So I think they have some young pieces that they're going to have to insert into the lineup.
But out west, though, ain't too many soft teams out there. I mean, there's a lot of talent.
Yeah, it's out west. And I'm not saying they'll compete for a title or anything, but when you got Kobe and you can put some young guys around him, he can get you to the playoffs.
All right. Lindsey, always appreciate it. All right. And we got a little gift certificate to Fifth Tavern on Telegraph in Bloomfield Hills. All right? Appreciate that.
Our walk-in guest segment is sponsored in part by Fifth Tavern, located on Telegraph Road in Bloomfield Hills. At Fifth Tavern, we cook with the heart.
More Shop Talk is on the way. Stick and stay, Detroit. For the best sports coverage on the web, go to theshadowleague.com. Coverage with a cultural perspective. Check it out. If you need work done on your car, truck, or van, take them to the pros at Expert Car Care. They offer free inspections and guarantee the lowest prices in town. Expert Car Care has 2 locations, 7 Mile between Myers and Wyoming and 8 Mile between Mound and Van Dyke.
You want flavor? Come to City Wings, 2896 West Grand Boulevard. Call ahead or order online, 313-871-2489, or go to citywingsinc.com. Thomas McGee's is your downtown Detroit football headquarters. Located on Fisher Service Drive in Eastern Market, they have ESPN Game Plan showing all college games. Stop in before and after every Lions home game. And Thomas McGee has an NFL ticket. Come through and enjoy.
Now it's time for Trash Talking Twitter.
Bill Show 313 says, will the big house be the empty house?
If you want to trash anyone or anything in sports, hit us up on our Twitter. Time to change gears. Here's Hip Hop News.
Hey, it's your girl Elle Beasley, and here's the latest in hip hop news. Audio company Bose has secured an endorsement deal with the NFL, which is not so good news for Beats by Dre. What does that mean for the players? Well, the players cannot flaunt their beloved Beats by Dre headphones, at least on camera, that is. Recode.net reports that under the terms of their agreement, Bose has had the right to ban players and coaches from wearing any other manufacturer's headphones during televised interviews on game day, during practice, or training camp. That means the days of players having their Beats by Dre's hanging from their neck comfortably as they chat with reporters during pre- or post-game interviews are no more. The NFL released a statement showing that they are standing behind the agreement. Beats issued a statement saying, over the last few years, athletes have written beats into their DNA as part of their pre-game ritual. Music can have a significant positive effect on an athlete's focus and mental preparedness and has become as important to performance as any other piece of equipment. In other news, Chicago MC Lupe Fiasco and New York Knicks All-Star Amari Stoudemire have signed on to executive produce an upcoming documentary about 4 11-year-old basketball players in NYC's Amateur Athletic Union. Little Ballers is set to air on Nicktoons on November 26th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. The 80-minute film will feature interviews with NBA and WNBA stars like Carmelo Anthony, Steve Nash, Russell Westbrook, Walt Frazier, Shamika Holdsclaw, and many more. Sports journalists and executives are also set to appear as well. I want to executive produce Little Ballers because I was once a little baller, said Stoudemire. It made a major impact on my life, helped me to become a better man and a better leader. Youth sports are very important for children. Little Ballers is set to air on Nicktoons on November 26th at 9 p.m. And finally, it looks like Soulja Boy has been charged in a case where he was pulled over by police back in January. The rapper has been charged with unlawfully carrying a loaded firearm and marijuana possession. LAPD says they found a loaded Smith & Wesson .38 caliber revolver under the seat of his Porsche. The rapper was arrested at the time of the incident. All right, that's the news. This is Elle Beasley. See you next week.
It's Shop Talk's Cut of the Week.
All right, check it out. I got my guy Jay here. He's rocking the taper fade with the beard game. Nice clean cut there. Great for business, date, whatever. You need a haircut, come see me. 40 Cuts Barbershop.
We welcome in Lomas Brown, of course, former Lion, Super Bowl champ with Tampa Bay, and he also went to the championship with the Giants.
Yeah.
Let's break down the Lions against the Minnesota Vikings on the road. Teddy Bridgewater's back for the Vikings.
I mean, I expect big things from him. I really do. He seems to have this calming effect about himself, Teddy Bridgewater, and they missed that when he was out. He seems to be back. He's going to be healthy. They don't do a lot of different things with him. They keep him in short throws, but that concerns me because they could keep moving the clock against the Lions. So there's a lot of things with Teddy coming back that's going to make Minnesota formidable.
And what about the Lions? We saw only 3 games with 1 touchdown. Matthew Stafford, of course, struggled against Buffalo, was sacked 6 times. And now Matthew's probably not going to have Calvin Johnson. How bad is that going to hurt?
I mean, that's kind of concerning, Rob, because it really is, because it's shocking how they are falling apart, meaning offensively without Calvin. There's so many other weapons on that offense with Reggie Bush, Joy. You got Golden Tate. You got the 3 tight ends that they have. But they haven't found the way to utilize all these guys. So it's a little shocking right now. And it's going to be trying without Calvin, maybe this next 1 or 2 games because of that high ankle sprain.
What about Matt Prater, who they signed the kicker after having all kinds of kicking woes? Do you think this will at least solidify this?
I don't know. I mean, he's a wild card. You don't know what you're going to get with him. Yeah, he was a good kicker.
But he's had some off the field
exactly
issues.
right. So you don't know how those going to crop themselves again. I know they're going to watch him, and I know he's under the program right now. But again, you just don't know how things like that affect him. And those guys are all mental. Talk to Jason Hansen.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. All right. We need a score, Lomas. Give me a score. Who's winning and by what score? In the shop, I want to hear what people are thinking. What you got?
Well, I think the Lions are at the point where we have to win this game right here. It's a divisional game. We're going on the road, still a young quarterback. So I'm going to say we're going to put up 24, and we're going to hold Minnesota. They're going to get 17. So 24-17.
Last week.
We need it, man.
Last week I got booed because I picked
heard,
Buffalo.
Man.
And I'm going to say this week on the road against the Vikings with Teddy Bridgewater back and no Calvin Johnson, I got 27-24 Minnesota.
Oh, wow. Wow, Rob. They need it, Rob. They got to have this one.
Thanks a lot.
My man.
Thomas McGee's is your downtown Detroit football headquarters. Located on Fisher Service Drive in the Eastern Market, they have ESPN Game Plan showing all college games. Stop in before and after every Lions home game. And Thomas McGee has an NFL ticket. Come through and enjoy.
If you need work done on your car, truck, or van, take them to the pros at Expert Car Care. They offer free inspections and guarantee the lowest prices in town. Expert Car Care has 2 locations, 7 Mile between Myers and Wyoming and 8 Mile between Mound and Van Dyke. For the best alterations in town, go to Sam's Alterations on Southfield Road in Lathrop Village, 248-552-9950. Sam also has a great selection of men's suits. Sam's the man. Now it's time for At the Movies with Greg.
I will destroy every last box troll in this town.
It's been always a pleasure to see you.
And you, Greg.
And great to be here. And it's funny, one of the questions I was going to start out asking you was about your character's voice in the movie. So when I talked to the directors, I said, did you tell Sir Ben the way you wanted to do it? Or how did it come about? And they said they just kind of gave you a little bit and you took it to create that voice.
That's true. Yeah, they were very freeing and very good company to keep in the recording studio, in that they gave me space, creatively to make very big jumps with my voice.
And one of the funny parts also in the movie with your character, he wants that cheese so much.
And that hat.
Yes. And it just messes him up when he eats that stuff.
Power corrupts.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. In fact, last night after seeing it, I normally get a cheese tray with a glass of wine. Not last night.
He took the wine.
Right, took the
Very
wine.
good.
But not the cheese. Not the cheese.
Very good.
And now, had you already been familiar with the books and all like that? Or the story
hadn't.
before?
Not with Here Be Monsters. The box trolls were a completely new concept, and they were new creatures to me. And I know that in the book, the box trolls are only like one little section in it. So they wanted, with this movie, they expanded.
Right.
Now it's time for the debate challenge. This week we welcome in Jeff Rieger from 97.1 The Ticket. Jeff, of course, gets his hair cut at Great Clips in Livonia. Jeff, we saw the Tigers with their epic fail in the first round against the Baltimore Orioles. Who are you blaming, Jeff?
Well, first of all, Rob, I'm going to start coming here. I love this place. That's number one. Number two, I blame Brad Ausmus. How can you not blame Brad Ausmus? If one game can get you fired, Friday should have got him fired. Game 2. That was the worst manager job I've ever seen.
I don't disagree with that, but the picture's bigger, though, Jeff. Who hired him? Dave Dombrowski. This isn't a second guess. It's a first guess. A lot of people, when he was hired, said that Brad Ausmus shouldn't get this job, an unproven rookie manager with a championship caliber team.
I don't disagree with that, and it was a wrong hire, and I don't think he's going to get fired. I think he keeps his gig, but I think you work with the pieces you're given, and what we've seen in the playoffs, not being able to differentiate from what he normally does, going to Jabba 2 games in a row, pitching Verlander in Game 2, who lasted 5 instead of David Price. Are you kidding me? It was Ausmus. You get to that point, you got to the playoffs, and Ausmus wrecked it for his team.
I'll give you this, that if you're going to give a manager of the year for managing well, he should get blamed when things don't go right. So I'll give you that. And did Ausmus have a bad playoffs? Absolutely. Did he make some rookie mistakes? Absolutely. But it still comes down to he was put in a situation by Dave. Bad bullpen, so you start managing differently because you're afraid to do what you should be able to do had Dave given you the right bullpen pieces, and if Dave would have hired a manager with some experience. That's why I think it's bigger than Brad. Is he a part of the problem? Yes, but Dave is the problem.
You get to the point, and you mentioned a bad bullpen. You knew Jabba wasn't good enough from the day before. You knew that you couldn't go back to Joaquin Soria. What'd you do? You could have left Sanchez in. Oh, he's got a 30-pitch count. Are you kidding me? Leave Sanchez in, go through the 8th, Nathan in the 9th, win Game 2, and come on. And one more quick thing. You can't tell me that it wasn't on Ausmus, and sure Dombrowski too, but you're telling me Steven Moya, Tyler Collins, James McCann, a righty that can hit against a lefty, which they have a bunch of. These guys aren't on the roster. You got Hernan Perez ending your season. Listen, bad roster. Dombrowski is to blame a little bit. But when you get to that point, you got to win. It's on Ausmus, and I thought he really did not do a good job in the postseason.
Jeff, for the first time, I think you are the winner of the debate. I'm going to give it up to you.
Whoa!
Thanks for joining us.
Oh, my God. I don't know what to say.
Here's the Instagram shop of the day.
Check out Unique Barbershop, 7157 Michigan Avenue. Call them at 313-297-7762.
If you want your shop featured, hit us up on our Instagram account, Shoptalk TV.
Now it's time for a segment we call What You Sportin'.
What You Sportin' is sponsored by Bob's Classic Kicks on Woodward in Detroit.
This week we welcome in Benny, and we also welcome in, of course, Tico, the co-owner here at Sporty Cuts, and one of our A1 barbers. Benny, what you sporting?
You know, in honor of these two gentlemen right here, being the members of the 50 and Up Club, I decided to come with these Adidas that's about 50 years old.
Wow.
Y'all see they clean. What y'all know about it?
Tico, what you sporting?
I got all these LeBron James right here. You know, youth edition for Benny right there. He's still a baby, you know what I'm saying? As you can check them out. Also, I can put the little ID in there, you know, so I jump when I dunk on them too, you know what I'm saying?
Very nice. Benny, you get milk and cookies with those or no? All right, put them back up. Let's see what we got. Tico, I like yours. But you know what? Benny, I'm going to give it to Benny to throw back. Those are three.
Yeah.
He is the winner.
Taking them back to Rob's first date.
All right, that's our show for this week. The big question this weekend, will Michigan get 100,000 plus at the Big House? No way, no how. Penn State, a night game.